The Nintendo Switch 2 is stacked with an incredibly rich library of games, and it only keeps on getting better and better. Just when I recently thought I was all caught up on my backlog, 2026 was like, nope, Ray, that is not happening. From massive RPGs and inventive platformers to cozy adventures and long-awaited comebacks, this year has delivered something for just about every kind of player. After playing every game on this list extensively in handheld mode and even blown up across my 100-inch projector screen, these are 10 must-play Nintendo Switch 2 games that you have to experience right now if you haven't already. So without further ado, let's dive right into this. Kicking things off at number 10 is Kirby Air Riders. Air Riders is less of a traditional racing game and more like colorful, chaotic vehicle combat as you boost, battle, and barrel your way towards the finish line. You charge forward, attack rivals, and learn to master a collection of machines that all feel completely different. The controls definitely do take a little getting used to, but once everything clicks and you hop into modes like Air Ride and City Trial, you're gonna be having a blast. Road Trip even adds a full story-driven adventure to the mix. Air Riders ended up being one of the biggest surprises on Switch 2, and it is super easy for me to recommend to competitive players, Kirby fans, or anyone who's looking for quick bursts of pure chaos. At number 9 is The Adventures of Elliot: The Millennium Tales. From the creators of Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default, The Adventures of Elliot is a creative action RPG that combines gorgeous HD 2D visuals with fast real-time combat. In many ways, it reminds me of a modern take on The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. This game follows Elliot and his fairy companion Faye as they travel across 4 different eras, which keeps the environments, the challenges, and mysteries consistently changing. Exploration feels incredibly rewarding, while Faye's support abilities add another strategic layer to the action. It has all of the charm of a classic top-down adventure, only it feels like it's been completely reimagined for the modern era. This game is a whole lot of fun. At number 8 is Hades 2. The original Hades was already one of the best roguelike games ever made, so this sequel had a lot to live up to. Thankfully, Hades 2 does, and it expands on the original in nearly every single way. You battle beyond the underworld using dark sorcery, experiment with all kinds of weapons and character builds, and uncover more of the story between every run. Even failure never feels like wasted time here because each attempt rewards you with new dialogue, upgrades, or meaningful progression. Hades 2 is one of those games that is always exciting to jump back into, whether you have 10 minutes or an entire evening to play. Number 7 is Pragmata. Set inside a lunar research facility, Pragmata follows Hugh and his android companion Diana as they fight to survive and find their way to Earth. Its combat has a really clever twist. Diana hacks into enemies to expose their weak points, while Hugh handles the movement and shooting. That makes every encounter feel like a fast combination of puzzle solving and third-person action. Pragmata was one of those games that I simply could not put down once I started playing. The growing bond between Hugh and Diana gives the story a lot of heart, and you are consistently rooting for the two of them to make it to Earth. That relationship is what ultimately makes this adventure feel so special. This is one of those games that I feel like could be adapted to a movie very easily. At number 6 is Star Fox. Nintendo finally brought Fox McCloud and his crew back on Switch 2 with a cinematic reimagining of Star Fox 64. It features overhauled visuals, a sweeping orchestral soundtrack, and revamped controls, including optional Joy-Con 2 mouse controls. The branching routes still give the campaign plenty of replay value, but this version also adds a pretty extensive challenge mode and 4 versus 4 online battles. It captures everything that people loved about the original while introducing enough new content and modern improvements to make it feel fresh and kind of new. This is the epic comeback that Star Fox fans have been waiting such a long time for. Taking us halfway through the list is Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. This is easily one of Nintendo's most charming games in years. It has a beautiful storybook presentation and imaginative stages that are built around discovering unusual creatures. Instead of simply rushing towards the goal, you're encouraged to slow down, explore, experiment with the environment, and figure out how everything interacts. It is cozy and it's relaxing, but it's also packed with collectibles, secrets, and clever new ideas. As a longtime Yoshi fan, I genuinely think Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is one of the best entries in the series since Yoshi's Story on Nintendo 64. Next up is Pokopia. Surprisingly, this is my second most played Switch 2 game of the year so far, and it has easily become one of my favorite favorite surprises. I don't think anyone, myself included, expected Pokopia to be quite as addictive as it is. You play as a Ditto that's transformed into a human-like character, and your goal is to rebuild empty environments into thriving Pokemon paradises. By learning moves from the Pokemon that you meet, you can gather materials, reshape the land, craft furniture, and build cozy little towns for your Pokemon to enjoy. Pokopia is one of those dangerous games where you sit down planning to play for only a few minutes, and suddenly several hours have completely disappeared. Coming in at number 3 is Splatoon Raiders. Raiders is another game that completely took me by surprise. I have always felt that Splatoon's single-player campaigns were seriously underrated, so an entire game that is focused on that side of the series immediately grabbed my attention. You play as a mechanic who's working alongside Deep Cut, who's searching the mysterious Sphere-Light Islands for treasure. Customizing your ink-based weapons and your mechanical gadgets along the way, you're gonna battle waves of Salmons to search for and uncover these treasures. If you already enjoy Salmon Run in the other Splatoon games, there is a very good chance that you are going to love Raiders. It maintains Splatoon's satisfying movement, colorful personality, and creative ink-based combat while pushing the series in an exciting new direction. At number 2 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Outside of massive adventures like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Rebirth is one of the biggest and most ambitious RPGs that you can experience on Switch 2. After leaving Midgar, Cloud and the rest of the party explore enormous regions that are filled with quests, secrets, minigames, and unforgettable character moments. The combat perfectly blends fast real-time action with strategic commands, while each character brings different abilities and playstyles to the party. Experiencing a game this cinematic, detailed, and absolutely massive on Switch 2, especially in handheld mode, still kind of feels unbelievable. It's a testament to how powerful the console is. And finally, at number 1 is Donkey Kong Bananza. Even in 2026, Bananza remains the Switch 2 game that I find myself recommending more than anything else. Nearly everything in its world can be smashed, tunneled through, or completely ripped apart. Destruction is a major part of the exploration here. Add in Pauline's antics, the creative Bananza transformations, the incredibly satisfying platforming, and the enormous underground layers that are filled with secrets, this game will consistently reward your curiosity. Bananza is the Switch 2's statement piece. It's the kind of unforgettable experience that reminds you exactly why Nintendo games are so special. So those, my friends, are 10 must-play Switch 2 games of 2026 so far. With so many games out now and even more on the horizon, narrowing this list down was not an easy thing for me to do. Mario Kart World, Mario Tennis Fever, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Rhythm Heaven Groove, they were all extremely close to making it here on this list. Long story short, the Switch 2 is the gift that keeps on giving. There has never been a better time to own one and dive into its incredible library of games. Well, that's all I got, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. Now, I want to know, what is your favorite Switch 2 game of the year so far? What game would you add or remove from my list here? Drop a comment and let me know below. And if you enjoyed this video, you know the drill. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for much more coming your way soon. Until the next one, I will catch you guys later. Peace!